Like Diego, I have been talking with many of you who are friends. And we are 10 months in. We are tired. We are ready to go home. We are missing our families and we are stressed. And we equally feel attacked. Many of you feel attacked. And you say to me that I'm tired of being accused of being something, and that's not my intent. And we feel the same. I realized in this committee, because I genuinely have wondered, where is this coming from? Why is the outrage or the folks walking around here in pink saying protect girls' sports? Where is this coming from? Because we talked in committee and we put on the record that there is not one case of a trans girl taking a competitive spot from a female student in Texas. And there was a young man that came to testify, and he was genuinely very passionate and outraged at the idea that he needed to save his sister's spot in sports and not have her compete against boys. And I asked him, I said, where are you getting this? Where did this come from? When did you first have this thought? And he said, well, I read an article. I read an article about a 6A wrestling team where a boy just dominated the girls. Do you know that case? Please hear me. That is Mack Beggs. Mack Beggs was born female and was transitioning to male, and it was this very UIL position that forced Mack to compete against female students. And when I said to one of the other witnesses, now that we have figured this out, now that we have figured out this is a miscommunication because we are not talking to each other. We always say, I don't want to be like DC, where Texas, we're different. But we are falling for not talking and learning from each other. I have seen throughout the day when folks say cisgender, and other folks say, you can't make me say that. You can't make me think that way. But we're not listening to what are we really talking about. So when the article said a trans boy was competing, one person heard boy. And the community of LGBT heard a young girl who had transitioned into a male. And when I asked this person and said, now that we've cleared that up, now that you know this was not a male-born individual trying to play against women, but this was a female-born individual in transition as a boy that was being forced to compete on this bill, do you feel differently? And one of the witnesses said, no, I'm already dug in. I stay with my position once I pick it. You've heard from me. You've heard from so many folks that I know there are many of you in here that are struggling with this, and there are many of you here that very genuinely would say, I don't want to hurt any kid. And so I would ask you to consider that the very thing the people who are calling you and asking you to pass this bill fear, you're about to codify in law. In fact, you're not just codifying that in law, you're going one step further. You are creating state-mandated genital inspection. Because if you have a daughter who's taller than everybody else, if you have a daughter that's faster than everybody else, if you have a daughter that's stronger than everybody else, you are about to create a law where the opposing parent can say, no fair. That person's so much better than my little girl, they gotta be a boy. Go check. Other states who have done this have stories about the same question about state-mandated genital inspection. Because what else do you do, or how do you figure this out if your high school team's opponent doesn't like that your daughter happens to be a better athlete? I've heard my colleagues say it, and I would ask for those of you to search your heart. Is this to protect girls, or is this because we are being asked to do something for somebody else's benefit? Ms. T is behind me. I am talking about political benefits. I am talking about the fact that when the governor's opponent tweeted something about his values, the Houston Chronicle reports that the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services took down the website to support trans and LGBTQ youth. I don't work for the governor. I don't work for his political ambitions. I was wrong. I was wrong. That's a quote from Liz Cheney for voting for DOMA, even though she had a lesbian sister. At some point, and I do love this body and these people, and I do understand the predicament that you are in politically. But if not tonight, when you go home and put your head on the pillow, or when your grandbaby finds the courage to come out, or whoever it may be, at some point your heart will burst and you will remember the vote that you take tonight.